The old cabin stood at the heart of Blackwood Forest, a place shunned by locals for as long as anyone could remember. Dense trees surrounded it, their gnarled branches forming a twisted canopy that blotted out the sun, casting perpetual shadows over the area. Only the most daring or the most foolish ventured near. Jake and Emily were neither. They were simply lost. Their weekend getaway had taken an unexpected turn when their car broke down miles from the nearest town. With nightfall approaching and no cell service, they had little choice but to seek shelter in the decrepit cabin they stumbled upon.
Are you sure this is a good idea?
Emily asked, her voice trembling as she eyed the dilapidated structure.
Do we have a choice?
Jake replied, trying to sound braver than he felt. The door creaked open with a groan that echoed through the forest, as if the cabin itself was waking from a long slumber. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of damp wood and decay. Cobwebs clung to every corner and dust covered the floor like an ancient shroud.
This place gives me the creeps.
Emily whispered, clutching Jake's arm.
We'll just stay the night. First thing in the morning, we'll head back to the road and find help.
They found a dusty old lantern and lit it, casting a dim, flickering light around the main room. The walls were adorned with faded photographs and strange symbols carved into the wood. An old weathered book lay on a rickety table in the corner. Jake picked up the book, brushing off the dust to reveal a leather cover marked with bizarre, cryptic symbols.
What do you think this is?
He asked, flipping it open. Emily glanced over his shoulder. The pages were filled with handwritten notes, drawings of strange rituals, and unsettling sketches of monstrous figures.
I don't know, but I don't like it. Put it down, Jake.
Jake hesitated, then placed the book back on the table.
Yeah, you're right. Let's just get some rest.
Emily woke to the sound of whispering. She sat up, heart pounding, and glanced around the room. The lantern's light had dimmed, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance on the walls. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, but she couldn't understand the words.
Jake.
She hissed, shaking him awake.
Do you hear that?
Jake groaned and rubbed his eyes.
Hear what?
The whispers stopped. The cabin fell silent, save for the wind outside. Emily's eyes darted around the room, but nothing seemed amiss.
I swear, I heard someone whispering.
It's just the wind. Go back to sleep.
Run!
Emily screamed, pulling Jake towards the door. They burst out of the cabin and into the forest, the moonlight barely penetrating the thick canopy above. They ran blindly through the woods, branches clawing at their clothes and faces. The growl followed them, growing louder and more menacing with each step. Finally, they stumbled upon a clearing and collapsed, gasping for breath. The growling had stopped, but the forest was eerily silent, as if holding its breath. What was that? Jake panted, eyes wide with terror.
I don't know.
Emily whispered, tears streaming down her face.
But we can't stay here. We have to keep moving.
Suddenly the ground beneath them gave way and they tumbled into a hidden ravine, landing hard on the rocky ground below. Pain shot through their bodies, but the fear of what might be following kept them moving. As they limped through the ravine, Emily noticed something glinting in the dirt.
She bent down and unearthed a small rusted locket. Opening it, she found a faded photograph of a young girl, her eyes wide with terror. What do you think this means? She asked, showing it to Jake.
Jake's face paled. I think it means we're not the first ones to get lost in these woods.
Just when they were about to give up hope, they stumbled upon a dirt road. Relief washed over them as they recognized it as the same road they had driven on before their car broke down.
We made it, Jake exclaimed, helping Emily to her feet.
They followed the road, hoping to find help. As they walked, they heard the sound of an engine. A battered old pickup truck appeared around the bend, driven by an elderly man with a weathered face.
Need a ride? He asked, his eyes narrowing as he took in their disheveled appearance.
Yes, please, Emily said, tears of relief streaming down her face. We've been lost in the woods all night.
The man nodded and gestured for them to get in. As they drove, Jake and Emily explained what had happened. The man listened in silence, his expression unreadable.
"You're lucky to be alive," he finally said. "That cabin, it's cursed. No one who goes in ever comes out the same."
Emily shuddered.
What do you mean?
Years ago, a family lived there, the man explained. They practiced dark rituals, worshipping something ancient and evil. One night, they vanished without a trace. Since then, anyone who's entered that cabin has met with strange and terrible fates.
Jake and Emily exchanged a horrified glance.
Why didn't anyone warn us? Jake asked.
"We tried," the man said grimly, "but outsiders never listen."
The man dropped them off at a small diner on the edge of town. They thanked him profusely and went inside, grateful for the warmth and the presence of other people. But even as they sipped their coffee and tried to shake off the terror, they couldn't help but feel the forest's dark presence watching them, waiting for another chance to ensnare them in its web of nightmares. For the rest of their lives, Jake and Emily would avoid the woods. They moved to a city far away, built a new life and tried to forget. But every now and then, in the dead of night, they would wake to the sound of whispering, and the chilling laugh would echo in their minds, reminding them that some horrors can never be truly escaped.